Hello guys, another video brought to you by Vengeancer. I'm over here actually recording Friday / Monday's videos, considering that this quest has been in a big pain in my butt. And I don't want to wait for this. The next part of this quest is use plant breeding on fully grown, blah blah blah. So we gotta wait for this to get to 100. I'm gonna try something real quick. If this works, great. If it doesn't, then it didn't. All right. I was wondering if we could cheese that. We could not. So this video that I'm recording now is actually going to go up after. I think it's either going to go up probably on Wednesday. The other ones have been kind of a mess because I recorded about 20 minutes. We were waiting on crops to proc and they didn't, so I cut it off, and then they did, so I started it back up. I'm just going to upload that in parts. I'm not even going to bother editing it together. It's kind of a mess, but it'll be fine. All that aside, I had a thought. I've been thinking about trade crates and just video workers and stuff in general. Let me bring something up here. I don't know what I'm clicking on. So whenever your worker collects something, you end up getting, so let's take iron, for instance, iron ore. And I've got a ton of it in my storage. So whenever your worker collects iron, you get iron ore. When you melt down iron ore, you get melted iron shards, which are useful for crafting things, right? Some things. But if you go ahead and process and heat these up again, you're going to get iron ingots. Which, let me bring up another thing. And this right here is what led me to have this thought. You're going to get iron ingots. Now, of course, let me see if I can find what I'm trying to find. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. That's wrong, ingot crate. I was curious as to what the game thought. Let me see if it shows it. We got iron ingot. What is iron ingot used in? So you can craft armor out of iron ingots. You can craft all kinds of stuff, right? Mostly wagons and that kind of stuff. Decorations and things like that. Need an iron. Weird. So you need all kinds of crazy things. Craft house wardrobe. That's kind of cool. The thought that I had was, when you get the original iron ore and you heat it up, there's a chance for you to get iron ingots, right? You don't have to process the melted iron shards further. There's also a chance of getting iron ingots. And the game has to give you a way of getting rid of that stuff. Otherwise, it's just useless. You know, so I mean, that's why I was looking at the crafting notes. I was curious. I thought you could make trade crates out of it. That's why I was looking heavily. Brass crate, bronze crate. All kinds of crates. These are all the trade crates in the game. Lead ore. I used a lot of lead ore. So you can use iron ore, but I don't see any iron ingot crates. And that just happened to be my example. I craft steel ingot crates. Or titanium. But my thought I'm trying to get out here is you have this like created economy where anyone can get their workers to get iron, right? And anyone can process it, right? You don't even have to interact with other people at all. You can get all this stuff yourself. You can do it all yourself, and then you can offload most of your resources, the final product, to an NPC for silver through trade crates, and you don't even have to. You don't have to interact with anyone, right? Black Desert is set up to where you can play it completely solo. A better example, I think, of this is the lumber. With the crates, the trade crates created out of lumber. Let me bring up Grana because that's where I have my crates at. So you can get ash timber, straight, just timber, right? But if you want to do these higher level ones, you got to make the plywood. And let me scroll down here, there. So you got to have planks to get the plywood. So you take the timber, you chop it, you get planks. You get a chance to get the plywood. You chop the planks, you get the plywood. Eventually, you're gonna be at the end of a line on processing, and you have to offload it somewhere. Otherwise, the whole process is just absolutely useless. So you got these trade crates that you have your workers bundle up all of your plywood into a crate, and then you take that crate and sell it to a trader, and you get silver out of it. But this economy has been created because, like I said a couple of minutes ago, you can literally never interact with anybody. It's all NPCs. Your workers are NPCs. The people that you're interacting with are NPCs. But there's this created economy where people are buying iron ore, or I better type the whole thing. People will buy this iron ore. Granted, they're going to buy it low. But if they're actively buying it, then it doesn't matter. They'll buy it. They process it. They will process it into melted iron shards and then resell it. I assume there's orders down here. Yeah, there's a few orders. But they'll resell it. And the iron's not the only thing. It's just the one that I picked. But people will literally, their whole way that they make silver is by processing and reselling. So they buy the raw materials off the market, process it with high processing mastery, and then they resell the end result. And like I said, a better example is probably wood. Plant seed, leather, blood, meat, miscellaneous. Where's the wood at? Plants? Why is it under plants? But if you go through here, you'll see that a lot of these people will buy this stuff. Especially big processors. Now, a lot of people left for Lost Ark, so they may not be doing it anymore. But you can see down here, there are trades, and it's been trading today. People buy this stuff all the time. And you got 536 million trades, and people are trading it at 31.20, which means people have been buying this. But they'll buy it, they'll chop it, and they'll turn it into the planks or the plywood, and then they'll resell it. And it's crazy. It's a fake, a created economy out of it. But that leads me to the whole trade crate thing. I've been wanting to make a video on trade crates for a while, and maybe this is just me rambling because I don't really have much to make a video on right this second. I'm just sitting here waiting for these to finish growing so I can finish Monday's video. I'm going to do part 2 or 3 or whatever of this farm quest that I set myself out on. But, it's fascinating to me. The way I use trade crates is I have this whole node network set up. And I want to deliver them over here to Valencia. And to min-max it, you got to have the desert buff and sell it to a trader here, but to get the proper distance bonus, you have to craft it down here in Grana, and that's how you multiply your things, your silver for each trade crate, and make it actually possible to make it viable in doing it. So you take your raw materials, you chop them up, so you get the timber, you chop it all up into planks and plywood, and then you have your workers bundle it all up, and you got to do that down here in Grana. Then you got to have the node network connected all the way over here to Valencia, but you have to manually move the trade crates from there to Sand Grain, because if you try to transport it, it costs you millions of silver, so you're just losing silver at that point. But what you want to do is you want to get all your stuff here, which I've transferred a couple of my like these silvers. These were trash crates that I just used to level up trading. But you want to transfer them here to Sand Grain, and then you want to get your desert mount, whether it be a camel or a elephant preferred because they carry more, and you literally trek it all the way across the desert until you get to here, which is in Valencia. It's the only city considered with the distance bonus is still considered in the desert, so you can use the desert buff, which the desert buff you have to get from, I think, here or here. I forget which one. You got to get it from one of the villas. I'd have to look it up again. It's been a long time since I actually did it. I want to say it's the sharing one. But this is why having the compass is so, the compass is so important, because you can actually navigate and see where you're going in the desert. Which I have not grinded those pieces yet. This game is so extensive. It has one tiny little thing and it leads to something else, and then you have this whole long artificial compound quest line for no reason. So it's like, okay, I want to make silver. Well, there's 1,400 ways to do that. The simplest being just go kill stuff. But if you don't like to just go kill stuff, there's so much depth as far as going down into the game. And so if you choose to go the trader route, which I have Artisan 9, it's not nowhere near the highest by any means. It goes up to Guru. I don't do a ton of trading. But you want to go into it. Okay, the only way of making silver by trading is either buying something from one trader and traveling a long ways and selling it to another trader and having all the nodes in between connected, or delving into trade crates. And trade crates allow you to take all the crappy raw resources that your useless little workers gather for you, and then transform it into silver that you can watch spill out in the holes in your pocketbook that are created by the ridiculous enhancing system. I mean, if you watched my video last week on enhancing, you can either get very lucky or you can get very, very, very unlucky. And there are some ways to go about safeguarding yourself from failing, and I kind of go over that. But most of your silver is being funneled into this enhancing system because gear is the only thing that matters in this game. You know, whether it's life skill gear or combat gear. The ultimate goal being PvP, which is mostly dead now because people found out that it's not fun to be one shot by somebody that pays to win or gets lucky. So you have no counterplay. That's never fun. As fun as this game is, there's a lot of downfalls. So the ultimate goal is silver, because silver dictates how strong you are. Rant over back to the trading thing. If you want to trade to make silver, you have to delve into trade crates, and then it's this whole big long artificial quest line basically, because it's one small thing leading you into a multitude of a ton of other things that you have to do just to make it efficient. Getting into trading, you pretty much have to go to the desert to trade, because there is a buff out there that you can get that increases your profits and makes it so much better in terms of making the silver from the trade crates. Otherwise it's not worth it. And you either have to be very good at navigating the desert, which is not too hard, or you have to go grind the compass pieces so that you can have a map while you're going around the desert. The compass also allows you to go around the sea. It's kind of the same concept. But Black Desert is one of those games that has always fascinated me, because navigating around the desert, I mean, the whole premise of the thing is it's half the map. It's a huge, huge thing. You know, you got the populated areas, and then you got this big barren desert out here. And the only thing they put out here is a world boss and a few like sanctuaries here and there. But what's the point? You know, you can go out there and get to history or the other desert dungeon style place, but why even go out there, right? And that's always puzzled me. It's like the desert's fascinating me. If you go to the bottom part down here, yeah, there are places to grind, but it's still considered the desert, so you get the desert debuffs during the day and the night, which I'm going to do a video tips video on how to make purified water and star anise tea to counteract that. But it's always been one of those things for me where the whole game is supposedly, it's called Black Desert, it's supposedly about the desert, but the desert content is just, it's just not there. The things that are there are very well done, but it's like, it's not, the risks are not worth the rewards. It's a pain in the ass to go deal with the debuffs and have to have a ton of purified water in your inventory to keep from having heat stroke and losing HP every second. If you're grinding in the desert, having purified water is a pain in the butt because you're taking up inventory space that you need for the drops. Not to mention there's a whole colony over here for people that have negative karma. I haven't had negative karma, so I haven't talked to any of these people. You can't even use any of the services here if you don't have negative karma. But the game is very, very fascinating. And that's why I end up wasting so much of my time here. Or spending so much of my time here. Even if it's just logging in, sitting here and looking at chat. kind of forgotten over the past 20 minutes what I even started this video for, but no, yeah, it was all about the whole trading and the thoughts that I had about how I was amused about the fact that you can kind of have this meta game, you know. It's like you can either play the game or you can get the resources and do the processing and become like a middleman, uh, so to say, because people either want to get the iron ore to using iron as an example, they either want to get the resources and sell them for the silver, or they want to get the end product after the processing to turn them into more items to get more silver. So at each stage you have a bunch of different people depending on what they want to do. They can either have a worker empire, gather it all up and dump it on the market and sell it, or they can buy it up, process it and resell it, or they can just buy the end product, have their workers turn it into crates and trade it off, or you can do the whole process at once. And this is something that I've been curious about for a long time. Would I be more successful in Black Desert if I specialized into one thing and one thing only? There are so many life skills here. And before I finish this thought, grinding is very effective. Combat grinding, killing monsters, you get a ton of silver. You know, it's the most effective way of making silver. However, with life skills, do you become a specialized person as far as do you specialize into one life skill only, or do you become a jack of all trades? So do you get the best possible gear that you can for gathering and just max your energy pool out and just spend your time just gather and say gather for profit and get a ton of meat and sell it on the market? Or do you become that processor where you're literally just processing all day every day, and you have maxed out processing with maxed out processing gear and the stones, so you can mass process, and you're literally buying every resource you possibly can to process it and resell it because you're running through so much that you need to be fed all of these resources? Or do you turn around and cook like crazy and buy up all these resources and cook everything and then resell finished products? You know, or do you do kind of like me and just try to level everything to Guru and bumble along as you go? You know, I haven't really done research into should I be really good at one thing or delve into everything. I lean towards the second option of delving into everything, because I think that if you just go and do one thing, you're kind of like the ignorance is bliss guy, to where you miss out on so much. You log into the game and you literally... So imagine this. We go all over the map in this game, right? Well, imagine somebody just logs in, and where it starts them at over here in Olvia, or where I think they updated the quest to start them elsewhere, but when it used to start you out over here in Olvia. What if you literally just stayed here in Olvia and you never even knew the rest of this existed? Like, you would miss out on so much because you don't delve into any of it. You don't leave, you just log in, do one thing, and that's it. Well, if you just log in and only cook, you're literally looking at the inside of a residence and you're only cooking. You're not taking advantage of the whole game. That's kind of the way I feel. So I spend a lot of time running around doing a number of different things, but I don't really get in depth on one certain thing. Just something to think about. And I guess there isn't too much content in this video, but other than just my take on things and my perspective and thoughts, but I'm in the process of moving, so I'm trying to get as many videos pre-recorded as I possibly can, so I got at least a week's worth backlogged. So I'm really reaching for stuff here, and just putting down any thought that I have into a video. But that being said, if you made it this far, thanks for watching. And if you got any questions, leave it in the comments. You got any thoughts, let me know. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. And as always, until next time.